Hello? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, we're getting in. We're getting settled in. You wanna come up here too, puppy dog? You ready? Okay, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. Hello, welcome to a new reading vlog. I'm calling this my October reading vlog. I think the goal as of right now is to try to do one of these a month, and I will do my best to sort of include reading wrap-ups in these, okay? So like I will talk about things that I have read kind of recently in this, which is where we're going to begin. Also, I first want to say thank you for all of your wonderful feedback on the last reading vlog, my first ever reading vlog. I really appreciated it. You guys seem to really love it. I loved it as well, and I'd like to keep kind of doing this. And I think it also just makes it kind of handy that I'm pulling the book content out of my art content so that if you're not into the book stuff, you don't have to watch these videos. It just makes it a lot easier. Yeah, hoping to continue to do these sort of like monthly reading vlogs, and we'll see where things go from there. Wow, do we have a lot to talk about? We have a lot to talk about. Let me get one more book off my shelf. Actually, two more books. Let me get two more books off my shelf, and then we can start our chat. Getting the books off my shelf. Okay, where to begin? Let me start with the two books that I finished up this past week. One was a 5-star, one of my favorite books of the year. The other one was one that you saw me reading in the last vlog, which started off great and ended, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Let's talk about that one first, and that is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is a mystery thriller. It also sometimes is considered a horror book, which for me, I don't agree with. I don't agree with at all. I went into this hoping that there would be a lot more sort of paranormal stuff in it, and that's what got off to a really good start. Right away, I liked this book from the beginning. I would say like the first 25% or so, it had a really good vibe. It was very spooky. It's not really a spoiler because it is apparent right from the beginning. There are ghosts in this book. There are ghosts at the motel, and it also follows a dual timeline. You're following Carly, who is in 2017. She is coming to this town known as Fell, and she's looking for her aunt who went missing 35 years ago. Meanwhile, we're also following Viv, who is the aunt back in the 80s, who works at the Sundown Motel, and I'm trying not to have any spoilers in this. You're following the two timelines, okay? Carly's looking for Viv. Viv is living her life in the 80s and you're experiencing it. So you're bouncing between those two timelines as sort of the mystery unfolds. So there's ghosts in this book, and they are very much their own sort of characters a little bit. At least it felt that way in the beginning. But for me, it just got to a point where I just needed more ghosts. I wanted more ghosts because I think when you take out the ghost element, what's left is not that great. It's okay. I also want to preface that this book could have been a it's not you, it's me sort of situation. It's not you, it's me. Because a lot of people really love this book, and I liked the writing style. I thought the author's like tone and voice was really cool. I just struggled to kind of like really stay invested into the story. And I think part of that was because of the two timelines, it felt very lopsided. One timeline I felt really invested in, and the other one I didn't as much, and it felt very repetitive at times. Again, apologies, I live by an airport. It's very loud outside, and my air conditioning is on in October because it's hot out, so here we are. There was a lot also just packed into the end. I even like had texted my friend like, wow, they're really packing a lot of shit into this, which was kind of just, some of it felt like an afterthought and just like, I don't know. Again, I think maybe just this book wasn't for me. A lot of people really love this. So I'm not saying don't read it, and I'm not saying do read it. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. Would I read it again? No. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No. There were definitely moments where I was engaged, and again, when it was ghost stuff going on, I was here for it. That is my review of that. You can read more in detail on my Goodreads. There will be a link down below if you wanna get more than what I just rambled to you right now. The other book that I finished up last weekend was Rouge by Mona Awad. I was buddy reading this with my friend Kelsey. I will put a link down below to her YouTube channel. She posts lots of great book content. And I don't have the physical book here, the beautiful hardcover copy that you would have seen in my last vlog. I believe I showed it in my October TBR. my October TBR video, you would have seen it in that, because I've already passed it off to my other bookish friend who is starting to read it, and she has already read the prologue and was like, oh my God, I'm hooked. This is amazing. This was one of my most anticipated reads of the year because I really love this author. I've only read one other book from Mona Awad, which is Bunny, which is not for everyone. That is not a book that's for everyone. It's unhinged, it's very bizarre. It takes a long time to get to when things sort of go off the rails. That was one of those books, Bunny, for me, when I read that earlier this year actually. When I read that book stuck with me for so long, and I just like, when I was done with it, I was like, what the did I just read? This is the craziest thing ever. And I did that on audiobook, and it's a great audiobook. Whoever does the narration, her voice is fantastic. And I just loved it so much. And Mona Awad's writing style is just like, oh, it's just like chef's kiss. I love the way she sort of paints a scene and her description of things, and like it's so vivid and just amazing. So all that said, Rouge just came out in September and I was really excited to read it. Sat down and started reading it like the 1st of October and loved it right away. Loved it right away. This book for me was absolute perfection. I think there was a lot of improvements from Bunny, or maybe if you read Bunny and you didn't like it, I wouldn't have that deter you from picking up Rouge, because I will say it's very different. Yes, it's unhinged, and I'm trying not to say that much about it because I think what's great about it is just going in sort of blind. In Rouge, you're following Belle, who is sort of tidying up her mother's affairs after her passing, who is obsessed with sort of beauty and her skincare routine, which is a combination of things from sort of things that were passed down from her mother. Her mother's a very interesting character, and you kind of learn about that as she sort of flashes back in her life. But basically her mom dies, she goes back to sort of clean up her affairs, and she sort of ends up down a rabbit hole. I don't want to say anything else about it because, again, I think with Rouge you just got to go in blind and know that it's going to be very unhinged and very strange. There's a lot of magical realism at play with Mona Awad's books where you just have to kind of go with the flow. Just go with the flow and know that it's gonna be weird, but it's so beautifully written, and unlike Bunny, the pacing is quick. Stuff is happening constantly. The story moves along quickly. Characters are set up very early on. Motives, what's going on, all this stuff. Everything is laid out beautifully. The pacing is awesome. The story is fantastic. For me, that book just wove together so many different themes and ideas and metaphors, and there's so much to unpack with that book. It covers a lot of stuff about beauty, self-image, envy, loss, grief. I think grief is a big topic that's sort of in, it wrapped up in this book. Complicated mother-daughter relationships, generational habits, traumas, things that get passed down. Just a lot. And it just made you think, like, by the end of it, there's so much to unpack of what the main character sort of goes through that I feel like anyone who reads it could have some sort of interesting takeaway and completely different perspective on it. Also, just being a parent, I think there's a lot of interesting themes surrounding sort of parenting and motherhood in particular, which really hit home for me. So much so, there were 2 scenes or so towards the end of this book, and it is a horror book. This is a horror genre, and I would agree with that, although it is not as gory as Bunny was. Bunny was very gruesome and intense at times. Rouge is not that gory. So although it's classified as a horror book, I would say it's more tolerable than Bunny. Towards the end of Rouge, I was so hooked in and so enraptured by Mona Awad's writing that I was ugly crying like you wouldn't believe. Oh my God, this is a horror book. I'm literally sobbing. I sobbed like a baby. I sobbed like a baby, and I did not anticipate that happening. And it was just this one particular scene, and it just really got me. Beautiful book. This was 5 out of 5 stars for me. Mona Awad is just always gonna be an auto buy for me. I love her work so much. I need to go back and read All's Well. That's definitely on my list. It's kind of like the last thing that I need to read from her. She doesn't have much, so, but just a beautiful book. And again, it's not gonna be for everybody, but if you like sort of unhinged, weird, wild ride kind of vibes, then this is the book for you. Kelsey also, by the way, because this was a buddy read, I believe she was doing the audiobook and she said the narration was fantastic. So I don't know what the audiobook sounds like, but I've heard that it is also good. So maybe that's an option to go in that sort of route. So yeah, okay, so those were the two that I finished up from last week. Let's talk about current reads. Current reads. Oh, first of all, I also need to share how adorable this little bag is. My best friend Allie, for my birthday, gave me this adorable book bag, which is so funny because I was already thinking about getting one of these because sometimes I throw my paperback like into my purse or into the bottom of a tote bag and it just gets like annihilated. So I had been sort of researching on the side, looking at little book bags. Especially for certain books that I am really starting to annotate. I love the idea of like having my little annotation supplies in the front and then my books on the inside. I'm freaking obsessed with this. And it's like waterproof and like really sturdy and it's big. You can fit, I fit Akamath and another book in here like together. Like it does fit chunky fantasy books. I did track down a link for it. If you're interested, I'll put a link down below. But this was like one of my favorite things ever. Allie, if you're watching, thank you. I love you. This is one of my favorite things of all time. But let's open it up because I've been toting my books around the house. Let's talk about what I'm currently reading and what I'd like to read. Let me preface by saying this weekend is actually my birthday weekend. I'm coming off of a really fun book haul. I went to Barnes, hit the Barnes. I'm actually gonna be hitting a second one this weekend, but I'm filming that separately as like a Barnes & Noble birthday book haul sort of thing. So I've already gone to Barnes, which was just really fun. And like my whole birthday, all I've asked for is like alone time and book time. All I wanna do this weekend is read. I wanna drink coffee. I wanna be like curled up and cozy, have like my fall ambiance videos in the background and just read as much as humanly possible. That is what is on tap for this weekend. So let's talk about what it is that I'm gonna be reading. Do I talk about the thing I'm most excited about? Or the random stuff? Let me start with a random thing. 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston? Ashley Poston? I don't know. 7 Year Slip. This slipped in between my TBRs. It slipped in between my September stack and my October stack. It was on sale at Target and it roped me in. A lot of people have been talking about it. I have mixed feelings about this. Basically, it follows a girl who has moved into her dead aunt's apartment in New York. And the apartment has this magical quality where randomly, without any warning, it will jump back 7 years in time. But also 7 years forward for someone else. I don't know. Basically, she takes over this apartment. She opens the door one day and it's 7 years back in time and a handsome fellow is in there subletting her aunt's apartment. But in 7 years past in the apartment. And I have mixed feelings about this book. It has its cute moments. I'm not that far in. I'm only 130 pages, so I'm nearing the halfway point. It's cute, but two things. Number one, I'm struggling with the time travel element of this. I wish I had been filming me explaining this to James, because when I was explaining it to James, he just was looking at me going, no. There's so many problems with this concept. That's not real. Like, well, obviously it's not real, but like there's so many complicated things with this apartment living 7 years in the past. Like the rules as far as like when she steps out, it's back in normal time. But what about the person that's in there that's from the past? Do they step out and they're in their time? Like there's a lot of logistical things that don't make sense with this. And I'm having a very hard time like pushing that to the side. Because it's just a fun concept, right? And I think the idea is that you just need to just run with it and embrace it. And I'm just having a hard time doing that. It is cute. But the second thing with this is that I am learning that I don't know if the rom-com genre is for me, I think is what we're getting at. I already know that I'm not a dark romance girly. Haunting Adeline, I DNF'd that so fast. And I don't know if I'm a rom-com girly. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. But I will say it's an easy read, and at times it's a little entertaining with the dialogue. So I'm trying to just grind it out. I'm just gonna try to finish it anyways. I will say I love the texture of the book. It's that really yummy matte romance book sort of cover. We'll see how this goes. This is on my kind of just back burner. The 7-year slip slipped in between my September and October piles, so I've just been really slowly reading this. That's all my thoughts on this. I don't know. I'm gonna try to finish it anyways. I don't hate it enough to where I'm gonna DNF it, so that's where we're at with this. Eeeekk. Still reading Eeeekk. Still going strong. I am buddy reading this with my best friend Allie, who I also buddy read Sundown Motel with. We were trying to get this done first so that we could exclusively focus on this. So now that Motel is done, I'm hoping to start putting a little bit more time into Eeeekk. My goal is to try to finish this before Iron Flame comes out November 7th. That's the plan. Can I finish this? I'm about halfway through. Can I finish this rest of this chunk before November 7th? That's the goal. That's the goal. I haven't made much progress in this otherwise, other than I love it. I freaking love it. I love it. It's great. The other book that I have started, it was on my October TBR, and I am freaking obsessed. I'm so obsessed. Okay, are you ready? Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I am so obsessed with this book. Now, fine print. I'm only 115 pages in, okay? So I'm not that far in. So I wanna preface that in case I don't finish this in this video, because I kind of feel bad with Sundown Motel. I was talking it up last vlog and I hadn't finished it, and I think a lot of you guys went and got this book. So maybe like wait till I finish books until you go out and get them. Ninth House though, wow. Wow, this is such a vibe, it's not even funny. I didn't know anything about this book going in other than it's an adult dark academia book. This has all the things that I love in it, and I'm so here for it, it's not even funny. I started it and found myself going back and rereading sections because I loved the way it was written so much. Like just the prose alone is just so good. It's so good. It's such a vibe. It feels like an October book. I'm so glad that I saved it for this month because it really fits the vibe right now. It is a spooky good time. Okay, how do I explain this book? Because there's so much going on in it. All right, basically, we're at Yale, and at Yale, there are these secret societies that practice dark magic. Essentially, there's 8 different societies. Each one kind of concentrates on a different type of magic. They have really cool names. They literally like do their magic spells in like tombs around the campus. Like it's really, really cool. And there is a 9th society, the 9th house, the Lethe house, which is the 9th society. They're there to sort of oversee when these rituals are taking place to ensure that the magic doesn't sort of spill out and affect kind of everyday people outside of Yale or other students, etc. It then follows our lead. Her name is Alex, or Galaxy Stern is her full name, Alex Stern. Alex has a very unique ability, and I will just leave it at that because that was probably one of my favorite things that I discovered. Alex has a unique ability that has caused Yale to sort of track her down and bring her to Yale as part of the 9th house to help sort of oversee, again, the societies and their different rituals. There's so much going on. Does it say on the back? Because I really just don't want to give any spoilers away. Yeah, okay. I have to be careful with what I say moving forward because there's just so much going on. But basically you're following Alex in current time as she's sort of in her role and dealing with things, and you're also following her in the past, coming to Yale, learning the ropes and learning all the magical rules and society info and all that stuff alongside her mentor, Darlington, who is a great character and I very much enjoy. This book is just such a vibe. It's such a vibe, and I just find myself like I'm reading it slowly because I kind of don't want it to end. I know that there's a second one, but I love this world so much. Like this book really scratches an itch for me, and I just am really excited about it. And believe it or not, I am like full blown annotating this thing. Like I am highlighting, I'm writing things in, like who am I? Who am I? I just absolutely love it. Like it's just like the scenes, the magic that happens in this, the vibe. This is my brand, okay? This is me. This book is me now. Like my personality is taking on this book, and I'm just really, really obsessed. So this is definitely gonna be, I think, the priority for this weekend. I really wanna try to like just go down the deep rabbit hole that is 9th house and just live in this world for the whole weekend. That is one of my big goals. One other book that I'm pulling out just because I did finish Motel, and I usually have 4 books in my pile that I rotate between, is Tender as the Flesh. You guys would have seen this in my October TBR pile. It is something that I wanted to try to read this month. It's short, it's little, so I feel like I could probably knock this out pretty quickly. It's only 200 pages, what, 209 pages, and the font looks pretty big. So I feel like I could knock this out pretty quickly. This is a horror book. I don't know that much about it beyond it is set in a dystopian time where human flesh is processed and consumed. And I think there's people who are processed and people who are consuming, I believe. I don't really know much beyond that. I don't want to know anything else beyond that. I've heard that this book is intense. I'm a little scared. October is the time to read these sort of books. So I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, I'll sprinkle this in this weekend if Ninth House doesn't totally consume my entire life. We shall see. So there you have it. This is the pile going into this weekend. Hoping to finish Ninth House, tap into Tender as the Flesh, and then just keep chipping away at the 7-year slip. We shall see what I actually end up finishing. I don't anticipate finishing ACOMAF in this vlog, so that's definitely not happening, I can tell you that. We shall see. I think that's it. I had to check my post-it note. I literally wrote notes because I knew I was gonna be talking so much. Okay, let the birthday weekend vlog commence of me reading my face off. Let's go. I'm in total cozy mode over here, living my best life. This is like my birthday celebration day where I have asked for alone time and for reading as much as possible. So I'm hoping today is gonna be a really big reading day, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've put quite a dent into Ninth House. I'd say I'm about halfway at this point. Yeah, I'm at page 200, so I'm pretty much at the halfway point. It is just so fantastic. I continue to love being in this world. It's just so much fun. This book just has everything in it. It has ghosts, it has magic, it has secret societies. There's just a lot in this, and I think that's why I'm enjoying it so much. Like, it has a very quick pace, but I also just really like the author's writing style a lot. We'll be in like the middle of a scene, like something's going on, and then out of nowhere, she'll just drop like a memory or a flashback or something that the main character is thinking of. And it's just done so seamlessly, and things are woven together and connected so well. So I feel like it's just done really well. Like, it's just a good book. I'm just really, really enjoying it. I will say now, having been halfway through though, there are a couple of scenes in this. There's been one scene in particular that I would say look up trigger warnings 1000%. So if you know that you're sensitive about a few things, I would maybe check for trigger warnings on this book before jumping in. There is something that has happened in our main character's past that is described pretty vividly that may be, I think, challenging for some folks. So I'm gonna say it here, check trigger warnings on this before grabbing this book. It's a little bit gory as well, but I wouldn't say too bad. I've read other things that are worse, but maybe that's something I also just need to add to my reading vlog fine print. I tend to grab things that maybe some people would be freaked out by. So maybe just in general, check trigger warnings before picking up some of these books that I might be reading. Especially Tender as the Flesh, which is sitting next to me. You're resting on it actually, so I can't even pick it up. Well, here, I'll pick it up just for the vlog's sake here. Okay, also as I hit myself in the face. Also next to me is Tender as the Flesh. I did grab this to bring it upstairs with me because I wanted to at least get it started. So I'll probably, at some point, I will take a break on Ninth House. It's just hard because I'm really sucked into this book. At some point, I will take a break on this and start Tender is the Flesh, because I really do. I'm so curious about this. So I want to give this a whirl as well. So I'm just looking forward to today where it's just going to be nothing but reading, just reading all day. And I'm really looking forward to it. This is like, I almost feel guilty. I feel a little guilty just taking a whole day to read, to be honest with you. I normally like am working or I'm with Roman or whatever. So this very much feels like a birthday treat, which is really, really nice. So that's where I'm at. Okay, so I'm barely in this one. I'm barely in this. Page 22. Yeah, I've just the tip of the iceberg on this one here. I don't know, guys. This is pretty intense. This is pretty intense. It's giving Planet of the Apes meets Soylent Green on steroids. It's just really intense, and like I keep trying to read it just thinking like there's no good way to sugarcoat this and trying to get through this. There's no sugarcoating this book at all. The descriptions of things, of the processing plant, that's where I'm at, is very intense and unpleasant. But I'm also like, do I need to sit in this unpleasantness because it's the same thing we do to animals eating meat? Yeah. So I don't know. Part of me is like, just keep reading it because I think there's a lot to this, like thematically. But then I'm also like, why don't I just go back to Ninth House? Because it's so much nicer. It's so much nicer. Hello, it is a Monday. I have been in here working all day. Today's actually my birthday, but I had a nice chill weekend reading mostly, as you saw. I was primarily focusing on Ninth House and Tender is the Flesh. Ninth House, I'm loving, I'm here for it. Like, still just totally vibing with this book. I'm officially just past the halfway point. And I like never want it to end. So I'm really, really enjoying this read a lot. And I have officially pre-ordered the second one, Hellbent. But I pre-ordered the Barnes & Noble like special edition ones with like the red edges. So I also got another copy of this that is also the special edition because I just really, really love this book. So yeah, I finally caved and I ordered that Barnes & Noble special edition, this copy, and the second one, Hellbent. They have red and black edges. They look absolutely beautiful. So I caved and used the rest of my birthday gift card money to pre-order those. So that is happening. We'll talk about this one in a second here. But another reason why I'm trying to finish this is because it's a beast, obviously, but I'm trying to squeeze in a reread of Fourth Wing before Iron Flame comes out. My copy of Iron Flame arrives on the 8th of November, I believe. So I'm trying to get this reread before then. I read this not that long ago, so it is pretty fresh in my mind, but I want to be back in this world again. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm really excited because I did annotate it the first time. I hate how much these tabs are sticking out. That needs to be fixed like immediately. I did annotate it the first time, but not like a lot. I mainly just tabbed it and I underlined some things here and there. But because I have pre-ordered as well, and I pre-ordered this a while ago, so book math, it's free at this point. The special edition of this that matches Iron Flame. So I will have those 2 copies. So now I feel like this edition, this version, I can go crazy with annotating because I will have a second copy that's like pretty and I won't screw up. Because I missed out on the dragon edges. I missed out on that. I got this book after all of those vanished, you know, into the ether. So I don't feel so bad kind of like really going ham on the annotations on this. And it'll be my first book coming through and doing a reread, maybe like ever, especially this giant of a fantasy book, but doing a reread of something that I've annotated, and I'm looking forward to seeing like what I was reacting to the first time that I've read it and now what it will be like for the second time. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, had to do a quick battery change. So yeah, I'm looking forward to rereading this, which is motivating me to try to get this knocked out this week. That would be good. So I'm trying to finish this week because my bestie and I are gonna be rereading this together, and this time we have a schedule. So this was something that I found on Instagram. Someone had like reposted it, reshared it, posted to stories, like I don't know who the original creator of this is, so I don't know who to give credit to, but it's a Fourth Wing buddy read schedule, and it's basically a week long, like there's reading for every single day. It's broken up for you. They probably just took the chapters and divided it over a week, I'm realizing. But basically it allows you to finish the whole book in like 8 days. So that is the plan, is to follow this together as we reread this book. So what I wanna do is kind of get it set up a little bit. I wanna put the little schedule on the inside cover. I wanna fix these tabs, pick out new tabs. I have some new highlighters that are gonna be coming so that I can, again, I'm just gonna annotate the crap out of this, and I'm really excited about it. I even have little stickers that I think I'm gonna put on the inside of it. So I know that's probably making some of you cringe, but I love this book, and why the heck not? And I think it will be fun. And again, I have a pretty copy that I won't annotate coming that will match Iron Flame, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, I'm gonna get this set up, keep reading Ninth House, and then quick update on Tender is the Flesh. Oof. Okay, I'm 50 pages in. And let me tell you, it is a struggle reading this. It's a struggle. It's just not pleasant. It's not pleasant. The subject matter obviously is very intense. It's very gruesome. There's no sugarcoating this at all. And I picked this up because I was just curious. Like, we hear about the concept of this book. I just was really intrigued, and I kept picking it up, putting it down for like, I feel like for a while. Just curiosity got me, and curiosity is flaying the cat into a bunch of pieces and sending it through a processing plant, because that's basically what this entire book is. There's no breaks. There's no breaks. I thought that there would be, going into this, like big chunks of descriptive things of what's going on, but like, I think I've maybe had 2 paragraphs of not being in a human processing plant. Like, it's very intense. Not for the faint-hearted at all. I'm struggling to read this because it's just not enjoyable. Like, I'm just not enjoying it. So I don't know. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I don't have mixed feelings about it. It's disgusting. I'm having a hard time getting through it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading it or if I'm gonna DNF it. Part of me is like, I'm at the 25% mark. Maybe I should just power through it and just read it, because there's not that much, but it is just such an unpleasant reading experience. And frankly, I'd rather spend my time reading this instead. Or rereading Fourth Wing for that matter. So I don't know. To be determined on this, but really challenging to get through. I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'm gonna go read for a little bit because it is my birthday. So I'm clocking out early. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. It's fine. And I'm gonna go read, which is a treat. I don't usually do that during the work week. Back to ninth house we go. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait. What? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, what? Oh my god, there's... Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Hello? Okay. All these glasses are gonna have to go, huh? They're gonna have to go. Dante, you settle in too, pal. You're gonna have to just forgive the marks on my face. I've been editing, so I've had my blue light glasses on all day today. Hello, welcome back to the Book Nook. I have so much to update you guys on. It's like crazy. Oh, are you just pouring it on thick? Mister. You guys, this dog, he is like my second child. He's just like such a baby. He's such a baby, but he's so sweet. Okay, I have a lot to update you on. It has been a while since I've filmed, probably like a solid week that I've filmed any sort of like reading update, so I have lots to update you on. Okay, first off, let's talk about the books that I have finished since I last talked to you. One of them, of course, being Ninth House. I feel like this book has been the real focus of this vlog, and I've been talking about it a lot already, so I'm not gonna get too much more into it. And I have to be careful too because it's very easy to go down spoiler territory with this, and it's just, there's so much in this book, it is amazing. I finished it, I absolutely loved it. This was absolutely a 5-star read for me. It just had everything that I love as a reader. It was spooky, there was some slight moments of kind of gore in it, really cool, just story, vibe. If you are looking for just like very dark academia vibes, this is your place. If you like ghosts, secret societies, a murder mystery, this is where it's at. I will say, and I think I've said it previously, please check trigger warnings. I know that there's 2 scenes in this book that could be challenging for some readers, so do check that before diving in. I cannot wait to read the sequel, so I will be diving back into this world in January, and I cannot wait. And we're back with a new battery. Okay, another book we need to talk about is Britney Spears' new memoir, Woman in Me, I believe is the title, if I'm remembering it correctly off the top of my head. This book was, of course, on my radar, especially on my radar. You see what I just did there? This book was definitely on my radar, especially just knowing it came out the day after my birthday. And look, I am absolutely a Britney fan. I was a huge fan of hers when I was in high school. I have a lot of like growing up teenage memories associated to Britney, so I definitely follow her life and her music and whatnot. So I knew that this was something that I wanted to read, but I didn't anticipate diving into it so quickly just because I was hearing snippets from other people and on social media, and it kind of got me sucked in like, okay, if I'm gonna do this book, I better do it now because I'm gonna learn, see it all on social media, and I don't want to ruin it for myself, so let's just go. What was interesting about this is that I was really on the fence about whether I do the physical book or the audiobook, and I'm so glad I did the audiobook because Michelle Williams is who narrates it. You're killing me, Pug. Michelle Williams, like the Michelle Williams, is who narrates it, and she was incredible. Like, it was absolutely fascinating listening to her retell things and just speak in Britney's voice, and it just was really, it was a really great memoir. It was quite explosive, really. I mean, Britney, it's very much a tell-all. Britney really lets it rip, and just hearing her perspective of things regarding the conservatorship and you know, ebbs and flows of her career and being a celebrity and everything that she's been through. It was just really fascinating to read. Heartbreaking at times, obviously, of course, but very entertaining. And I would highly recommend the audiobook. It goes by very fast and it's very short. It's only 5 hours. So I got through it like, I don't know, in like a day and a half, just like doing dishes and walking the dogs. Like you get through it very quickly and I highly recommend it. It's a fascinating read. Obviously it feels weird to rate memoirs and I don't do that all the time, but I'm gonna give this 5 stars because I think it's great and I would recommend it to people to read because I think it's just interesting, especially if you've just been following Britney's life in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of a must read on the list. Do it as an audiobook, 5 hours, knock it out. Another book that I finished, and I actually just finished it last night, was The 7-Year Slip. I have mixed feelings about this. This book is one of those, it's not you, it's me sort of a thing. I have come to learn as I am becoming more of a reader girly, a bookish girly, that I just think rom-com is not my genre. It's just not my jam. So this book follows our main character Clementine as she has inherited her aunt's apartment in New York City, and the apartment can randomly, spontaneously send you back 7 years in time. So she meets this man in her apartment that's now hers, 7 years past, although for him it's in his present, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. But the time travel element really threw me for this. I was getting so entangled and trying to be like, but that's not how time travel works. That's not, I don't think that, but what? I had a hard time like shaking that off and just enjoying the book of it, I guess. I don't know. I also think that that's just what I get for being married to someone who writes sci-fi and like just knowing how many rules of time travel this was breaking and that it didn't make any sense. I really was like wrestling with that the whole time. I don't know. Again, it's me, it's not you. That's not to say that I don't, how do I say this? I wasn't crazy about this book. It was a good book. Did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No. And frankly, it was a really nice palate cleanser to the other book that I was reading, which you guys saw, Tender as the Flesh. We'll get to this in a minute. This ended up being my like palate cleanser for like when I couldn't handle this, I was on this. And I got sucked in enough to where I wanted to know what was going on and I felt invested enough. There's a fun array of characters. The main character is somewhat likable. The love interest is likable, but for me, I just think it's a genre thing. It's just not my jam. But I think if you are a rom-com person or you want just like a really, I would dare I say cozy romance, just a feel-good cozy romance, this might actually be a good book for you. I don't know. And it is rated very highly. Like people really love this book and love this author. And actually this is the same author that wrote The Dead Romantics, which came out before this, which that I'm a little bit curious about, even though I wasn't as crazy about this one. I'm still curious about that one. I guess the girl can like see ghosts and her family owns a mortuary and she has to like go back to her family business mortuary for something. I don't know. That to me sounds interesting. And I wonder if it's just a different premise or situation, if I would like the book more. And then I'm not wrestling with the time travel element of it. I don't know. Long story short, although this book was not for me, it doesn't mean it's not for you. I can see why people love this book and certain moments of it. And yeah, I would say just like don't disregard this just because I'm like about it. It's a good book, but it just didn't like blow my mind in any way, shape, or form. And if I didn't say it already, I did rate this 3 out of 5 stars. Again, that's just me. Okay, next let's talk about Tender as the Flesh. Oof. I am 25% in on this and I put it down and have not picked it back up again because I don't want to. There's 2 things with this book for me. Number 1 is it is translated and at times the text can feel a little clunky. It does feel clunky. It feels cold and clunky. The second issue is that it just feels like you never get a break. I thought going into this, I knew what it was gonna be about. Like I knew that it was apocalyptic, humans are being processed as food, there were processing plants, like I was preparing myself for some intense scenes. I was not preparing for page by page by page by paragraph by sentence, is just relentless. I feel like I haven't even gotten to a point where I can just like take a breath and just be like, oh, okay, there's nothing intense that I'm having to read with this. It's just really intense. And I just don't know, is it being intense for the sake of being intense? Or is it just I can't handle reading something like this? I don't know. At this current moment, this is a soft DNF for me. I may at some point pick it up because I am a little curious about a particular, like the story is set up, it gets set up pretty quickly, and like I am curious to see what kind of happens to our main character in this, who does work in a human processing plant. And he was sort of gifted a purebred human of sorts as like livestock that he has in his barn, you know, leashed up in the backyard sort of situation. And I'm a little intrigued, like, does the main character overcome this or make some realizations or communicate with this human pet livestock dinner thing? I don't know, but I'm just not, I just know that I have to be in a certain mindset to read this, and I have not been in the mindset to read this, and it's just really intense. So it's a soft DNF for me at this moment. I don't want to totally give up on it because I am curious, and we'll see. But yeah, the thing with this book is that, look, curiosity got the cat on this. I was really curious about it. Curiosity got the cat, skinned it, butchered it, sold it in a shop, and was consumed by some crazy people in an apocalyptic world. And I don't know if I want to deal with that. So that's where we are on this. I will wrap up this vlog with what I am currently reading, my current focus, and I'm happy to report that I'm only reading one thing right now, and it is
Fourth Wing for the second time.
As I mentioned, my girlfriend and I are buddy reading this. We're following a schedule, so I'm more than halfway through on this buddy reread here. And I'm having a grand old time, and this is all, of course, leading up to Iron Flame, which will be in my paws this Wednesday, so literally in like 4 days. Based on my reread schedule, I'll be done with this tomorrow, so I'll definitely need to pick up something else in between to tide me over till Wednesday when Iron Flame arrives, and I am so excited about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new here. Leave comments for me down below. Tell me what you're currently reading. I would love to know, to add more books to my Goodreads, my endless TBR. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.